Hold yourself together. Yeah. You're falling apart.
Can you lay down for us?
Lie down.
Lucy.
You're being such a diva.
Come on.
Yes. And we're live.
And we're live.
Welcome.
Micayla, welcome.
Thanks.
Another episode of Hounded. Really excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. Glad.
Anytime there's a dog involved, I'm excited.
On board. It really gets, it's really easy to get people to say yes when they know Lucy's going to be here.
Yeah.
But let's start from the beginning. How did you get into mountain biking?
So I was about 11 or 12 years old. I have a big brother who's about 2.5 years older than me. So naturally, growing up, whatever he did, I wanted to do better. So when he started mountain biking in grade 8 in high school, he started racing the mountain bike cross-country series. Tried to get on my white beach cruiser with the springy seats and chase him and his friends around the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where it started. And then our neighbors, a couple of the neighbors were also kind of getting into it. So they actually introduced me to more people, and then I started doing more racing, and yeah, it kind of went from there.
When did you realize that growing up in North Van, you were kind of in the mecca of the sport?
Yeah, Wade Simmons and Richie Schley and Brett Tippie and all those guys, like, you know, Dangerous Dan Cowan was my science substitute teacher at high school.
That's
so these
awesome.
guys were just kind of part of the community. Yeah, it wasn't until I kind of went to Europe for racing that I realized, when I told people where I was from, and their reaction was how lucky I was and exactly where I was living. I was like, holy crap, yeah, how do you know the North Shore? And
Yeah.
the North Shore. Like, everyone had been watching, you know, New World Disorder and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right, so now we start the game of Neglin.
Oh,
Are
no.
you ready?
I heard you're good at this.
I don't practice outside of these interviews.
Can I use this end?
No. You've been to Ritalic. You know the rules.
I have.
I'll let you start off. You're the guest.
Oh no. Oh, I hit it!
There you go. Yeah. Solid hit.
Sorry.
There
Ah.
you go. See? It's all talk. I don't practice. You raced for quite a while. You're a two-time Canadian national champ. And you raced Downhill World Cup for how many seasons?
Well, including junior, because I did the junior
Okay.
world champs, but did junior world champs both years, and then a couple other World Cups during those seasons. But I count those, so I think it was about 9 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess 7 as a pro.
Wow. That's
Something
pretty
like
cool.
that. Yeah.
Tell us about that experience. I mean, you got to travel the world, and you got really into a pretty cool community. Kind of.
Yeah.
What did you learn during those years?
A lot of what not to do.
Yeah.
No, it taught me a ton about just, you know, the typical sports things. Perseverance, determination, facing challenges, and when you get beat down, getting back up again and going harder than before. But also just the community of riders and like the relationships I have with people that I grew up racing with. You kind of have friends all over the world, and I feel super lucky for that. It definitely gave me a big perspective at kind of a young age, how the world worked, and traveling alone a lot and working 3 jobs to try and pay for my seasons and things like that definitely taught me a lot about passion and priorities, and, you know, having to maybe sacrifice some relationships at home with my friends because I'm gone racing all summer, but that's what really mattered to me. And just making those choices was like this whole other world that a lot of people don't get to experience, and like that I didn't even know existed until I started racing World Cups.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool. And then you get a whole new set of friends.
All right. Well, you want to take another swing?
Oh,
You're on a roll.
am I? I've only done one.
I think that's still
No!
considered a roll.
Dang it. Oh, that was a
Going for this.
aggressive.
Going for it. You ended up taking a break for a year from the World Cup circuit due to an injury.
Mm-hmm.
That was a concussion, right?
Concussion, hip, and shoulder. But mostly the concussion, I'd say, was the biggest thing that set me back.
Was that? I'd imagine that was pretty tough to be able to put that on pause.
Yeah, so it was the first time I hadn't really ridden my bike since I started biking when I was around 12 years old. So to have that, and then I actually got dropped from my World Cup team at the same time. The concussion was really hard to deal with. A lot of I'd be driving somewhere and like get to the place and have no recollection of how I got there.
Whoa.
Yeah, so there'd be like big memory blanks. Yeah, it was definitely really, really challenging and really trying. And then, yeah, being dropped kind of late from my World Cup team. So I didn't have a bike sponsor. I was injured. I was struggling with that. It was the biggest kind of loss of identity that I've ever felt. And I was really depressed for, like that whole winter. As the concussion started getting better and I started being able to exercise and at least have an outlet, and I did still have a bike, so I started riding a bike again, and I was just like, okay, just focus on getting better. Because I knew World Cups were absolutely out of the question. I didn't have a downhill bike. I didn't have a sponsor. So yeah, it kind of forced me to totally change direction. But even after I got better, I kind of decided that wasn't something I wanted to go back to. And so in a way, like I don't regret it happening at all. I think it came at like a perfect time in my career for me to really sit down and think about where I'm going and what I want to do with my life. So as hard as it was, infinitely beneficial, I think, because it's kind of put me on this whole other trajectory that I probably wouldn't have done. Relentless, and I hate feeling like a quitter. So it's kind of like I have to be forced out of something to like feel like it's justified.
So where did you put your energy and your focus during that time?
I did a lot of art. I went to university for graphic design and illustration, and I graduated in 2009. My crash was in 2014. So from 2009 to 2014, I didn't really have time, or my focus just wasn't on my art at all. And then when the crash came, suddenly had all this time. I just started drawing again and kind of re-sparking that love for art, and realized it was something that was really missing from my life that I really loved doing and I really missed doing. So that really helped me get through it, and getting little successes and getting jobs and getting recognition for the art fed that whole identity crisis thing, because it was like, oh wait, I am actually good at other things other than just riding downhill fast, which I think a lot of athletes do struggle with. Luckily, the art kind of saved me, I'd say, in a big way. Yeah.
And now that's a huge part of what you're doing now.
Yeah, now it's like, okay, well, I can't really give up this thing, because the two things by themselves are great, but I think it's like the combination of those things is what really kind of like drives me and challenges me. Yeah.
It's a good thing. Having two things you really are passionate about.
Yeah. Kind of opens more doors too when you try and, make little combinations of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of just sticking to doing one thing 24/7, 365 days a year, there's gonna come a point where you're gonna kind of blow out a bit, I think. At least for me.
Out.
Yeah.
I think everyone feels that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another swing on the with the hammer.
I keep forgetting that this is a thing. Oh man. Oh no!
Close.
It's never good with the whole hand-eye coordination. What?
There we go.
You just knocked it. Shit just got real.
Like I said, I play a little bit. So on the topic of art and bikes, you've sort of found a way to combine both. I know you did Intersection, the video. Was that kind of the first project you did that was a combination of the two, or were you throwing ideas around elsewhere at the time?
Yeah, it definitely was the first time where I really took biking and art and literally put them together. Like it was a very literal combination of the two, but I think it was really well received, and it kind of gave me the encouragement that I needed to use it as a kind of a springboard. Lacey Kemp was massive in that happening. She's one of my best friends and was my manager at the time as well, and at that time I'd never actually been in an edit, like a full edit production kind of project. Kind of like, okay, we got something really unique here with you, and it was kind of her baby and combined idea to make that happen. But yeah, Intersection was definitely the first time that anything, first time I was in a project, first time I was combining my art and my bikes, and first time I really I think let my art out into the biking world in such like a bold way. Did
that open your eyes into possibilities, beyond racing, and kind of the effort it takes to make something like that happen, even just a 3 or 4 minute edit,
Yeah. So I kind of laugh at my my attitude before that project, because it was like I was getting kind of frustrated because I had all these great ideas for projects, but I just didn't know why they weren't happening. And I would like take them to my bike sponsor and be like, this is my idea, and they'd be like, great. And then it would kind of just end there. I don't even know half of the things that Lacey did to like organize everything, but now that I'm trying to do my own projects, it's like, oh wow, like budget, logistics, like hiring a filmer, hiring an editor, maybe even hiring a different filmer, editor, sound guy, color guy, or girl, photographer for behind the scenes shots, maybe a director to keep everything in line, and like talking to the people that you're going to film. Maybe you need permits, maybe you need a drone person, and it's like I had no clue how it all worked, which is kind of funny looking back on it. It's like, how did I not know that this is what it takes to make a video? But Intersection as well had the whole illustration melding into the film, so that took a lot of time, and then I had to do a lot of like all the drawings and stuff for it, which took a lot of time, and never done something like that before, so it was like playing around with different techniques, what was going to look best on screen. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work.
I imagine.
Yeah, it was a ton of work.
And so Intersection ended up winning
Banff, yeah.
Banff. What was the award?
Yeah, well, not winning Banff, but it won Best Mountain Sport Film Award.
Cool.
Which blew me away. I look back at all the things I've done, and I look back at things that I'm working on, and I'm kind of my own harshest critic. So for it to do so well and come away with an award from Banff as like my first project that I'd been involved in, I was ecstatic. I was blown away. It was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We definitely deserved it. It was a rad flick. All right, give her.
Mother! Actually, I shouldn't have said that. Lou, where are you going? She's
Lucy.
over it. She knows I'm gonna lose.
We need you. Lucy, come on.
Lou.
Come here.
Hop up.
Lucy.
Hop up.
Come on.
Hop up.
Come on.
Hop up. Your glands are juicing. That was fun.
Okay, now she's a little bit less riled up.
What happened? That was like excitement Tourette's. It was just like,
She definitely
I'm
gets that.
excited.
Yeah. Now she's like, oh, go for it.
Sure. Let's try this one more time. Oh, I hit it! She is!
Just a little tap.
You are.
So on top of Intersection, in 2017 you also had Ferda Girls, which that came out before actually, right?
Yeah, so Intersection was filmed fall of 2016, but didn't come out till fall of 2017.
Okay.
But Ferda Girls was filmed in July of 2017. So yeah, Ferda Girls came out first. I was a little bit more used to filming because I'd done a bit more since the Intersection and things like that. But it mostly was just IFHT running the show as far as setup and logistics and all that stuff. Like I provided some ideas, and I mean I went to them to see if they wanted to film it for me.
Because you had the concept, right, of what you wanted to do?
Not quite. So I got asked to be part of Dirt Diaries. Then I went to IFHT because I had worked with them a few times the previous summer, and I knew that I wanted to do something funny, and I knew I wanted to do something impactful because I was the only girl in the competition. So I just knew that I wanted to work with them, and they actually turned me down the first time because they were like, "We done Dirt Diaries."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Come on." And they're like, "Okay." So yeah, and then they were like, "Well, why don't we do a music video?" And I was like, "Yes," because I love music. Yeah, my favorite song at that time was Kendrick Lamar, "Humble." And they were like, why don't we do Kendrick Lamar, "Humble," like a parody of that, because that's easy. Instead of trying to like make up our own song from scratch and all this stuff, it was like, yeah. And then the whole "sit down bitch" easily transferred into "sit down bro." Wrote out kind of just chronological order of how I've experienced being in the mountain bike industry. Addressed some issues that have been in discussion with like a lot of female athletes, and made a funny song.
And the result, everyone loved it.
Yeah, the result was pretty crazy. There was definitely some negativity on YouTube Yeah, so some people took it the wrong way, but I would say the majority of men and women really liked it and thought it was funny and thought it had some good points, and kind of created a whole new online community for female media in cycling and in sport. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Hashtag Ferda Girls. That was the longest answer yet. No, mother of.
So you went to India earlier this year.
I did.
With a crew from Free Hub.
I did.
Sounded like a pretty amazing experience.
It was definitely neat.
Was that your first time traveling to somewhere that culturally was that different?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Chile, I've been to Bali, I've been, Scandinavia even is very different culturally. But I would say India is the first place that I've been to that was that interesting, I think. It was really, really cool. And the Himalayas were just somewhere that I've dreamed of going and never thought was ever possible to, ride a bike up there. So I'm like, well, if it doesn't involve a bike, I guess I'm not going.
Yeah.
it's like you see it in Banff and everything, and it's like the Himalayas, and like this guy is pickaxing his way or ice picking his way up the side of one of these things. So yeah, it was cool to actually be able to get to the base of the glaciers and some of the big mountains and have that whole experience. Was by far the coolest trip that I've ever been on.
Cool. And so yeah, what was the riding like there?
I would not recommend going there for a cycling vacation. However, if you are in India with your bike, for some reason, the biking isn't bad.
Yeah, it's like.
But if you want to
ride a bike.
Yeah, you can ride a bike there. But if you want to go for like an epic mountain bike holiday, and you want to get in a lot of sick trail riding, maybe just stay in Bellingham. But India, like, the experience was unbelievable, and there was a lot of riding. There was a lot of riding on hand-built cobblestone trails up in the mountains, and quite a bit of hike-a-bike and some really cool ridge lines and things like that. And there was, you'll see in the video that comes out, the scenery was incredible. There's no comparison. The scenery was insane. And if you like the type B fun of working really hard and carrying your bike and going through this journey to get to the bottom of the glacier, which is totally what I love doing, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And none of us got sick.
That's.
Except for Seko for a day.
I've seen a photo of Paris had with somebody in the foreground and he's just peeking in the background.
Yeah. This Indian man that's just holding my bike, super stoked, smiling. In the background you just see Seko
probably trying to puke it all
really
out.
Pre-puke. It's here. The guy in the foreground is just oblivious.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was Seko's bad day.
Yeah.
That was a cool day though. I feel bad for him because there was a lot of school kids, and we actually got to kind of interact and hang out with the locals while we were waiting for a van pickup. Unfortunately, he was losing it out of both ends.
Never a good experience.
Never a good experience. Yeah.
All right.
Swing, bada, bada, bada. Yes!
Ooh, that was a solid hit.
Nailed it.
Oh, man.
I'm catching up.
Yeah, I'd say we're just about time. So, who's the most famous person you've ever met?
I fanned out so hard on this summer, actually, this spring, meeting Stickfort, Adam Haynes.
Nice.
He's an artist, and he's done stuff for Nike and I don't want to get any of them wrong.
Free Hub.
Yeah, he did.
Back in the day.
Nicest guy ever, and one of my all-time art idols. And
cool.
So I was in Bend, Oregon, and my friend was like, yeah, we actually grew up together. I'm best friends with him, because I was like, oh my god, you have an Adam Haynes print? Whoa. And he's like, he lives down the street. You want to go say hi and check out his studio? And I was like, what? I think I actually got tears in my eyes. So yeah, I went over to his house, hung out with his family, checked out his studio, and tried to curb my enthusiasm, because I feel like he would get a little weirded out by my fangirlness. But yeah, bought a print from him.
Nice.
Shout out
He's talented.
to Adam Haynes. Yeah.
He's a cool dude. We nicked it.
But what?
All right, what's your go-to trail snack when you're out for a ride?
Snacks. I'm a large fan of snacks. I usually bring like a full-on peanut butter and jam sandwich because I ain't trying to race, so I usually stop for a little half-hour lunch break. I also really like dried fruit, like dried apricots, and nuts. Just real food, really.
Yeah.
If I'm doing like big multi-day stuff, like in India, you know, you don't have the luxury of, you know, making yourself a sandwich every morning. Cliff Bars, the ones that are filled with nut butter, which I always found kind of a disturbing name.
Especially PB&Js, they'll get smashed up a little bit, you know, and they get kind of soggy.
Yeah.
They're better when
they're great.
Soggy after they've been in your pack for an hour or two.
Yeah, can't say the same for banana and peanut butter.
True.
The banana kind of gets a little... But a trick, if you really want to stop and have a snack for a while, is like you put the banana in one of those weird banana holders, plastic banana holders.
I've seen those.
Yeah, this is a complete waste of space, but if you really want to have a banana peanut butter sandwich, I've done this. Chop it up fresh. It's great. And it's a good source of energy and sugar and carb and protein and...
Nice.
Pro tip. I'm playing. I'm playing.
Play away. Oh, damn, that was solid.
Sit down, bro.
Nice hit.
You're still winning by a lot.
That was a solid, like, centimeter down there.
That was exciting. A centimeter. Thank you for speaking Canadian.
We're like 30 miles from the border, so pretty much. But what's the most interesting odd job you've ever worked?
Well, I had the classic ones as a kid: newspaper delivery, babysitting. Dad's a builder and an architect.
Okay.
So I would, actually when I was around 12 or 13, he had a couple workers for him that were kind of cute. Way older than me. I was like 12. They were like 19 or 20. But I would like go and help him down at the beach because it was like at the end of our street, mostly just to be social, but also to stare at boys. And then I learned how to use like one of those big jackhammers because we had to like blast a whole corner of the rock away to build the yacht club that he was working on.
Nice.
So yeah, being in like a big pit using a huge jackhammer was probably the most random job I had.
At 12 years old.
At 12 years old.
I
think it was big too. I know.
Solid odd job.
Yeah.
Running a jackhammer.
Jackhammering.
Before high school.
Before high school.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Mama's home, boys.
Wrong one. All right. Micayla, thanks so much. It was awesome to have you here today.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
I love being here.
Usually we let our guests have the last word. Is there anything you wanna leave our viewers with, or wisdom you want to impart?
Just go with the old motto: create what you want to be a part of. Don't wait for opportunity to, pick you up off the couch. Go and get it yourself. Yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Loved it. We should do this more often.
Cool. Well, I'm game. You know where we are. That's for sure. All right.
Free beer. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Exactly. Let's finish this game because I think you're.
Oh, I think you got it.
I don't know.
Am I allowed
It's
to
not
go?
over till the nail's sunk.
Not over till the.
Oh, perfect. Snap.
Did you get it? Oh, you
did. Now I'm just. There you go.
I did it.
She's done. Nice work.
Look at the little tail.
Oh, do you want to know?
You want to loot? Beautiful bird.
Oh!